Hey there, fellow YouTube enthusiasts. Today, we're diving into a burning issue that's not just about the flames, but also about the forests, the history, and the future of our planet. Let's talk about the wildfires raging in France and Spain, and why they're not just a natural disaster, but a human-made one too. So, grab your popcorn, and let's get started. First things first, imagine waking up to a sky that's not just gray, but a gigantic black cloud above you. That's what Naomi Corsant and her partner Matteo Martins experienced when they had to evacuate their apartment in Les Cap Ferret. The sky turned black, and ash fell on their balcony. It was like something out of a post-apocalyptic movie, and yet, it's a reality for thousands of people in France and Spain. But what's behind this fiery inferno? Well, let's take a step back and think about it. We're talking about a pine forest that dates back to Napoleon III time. In the mid-1800s, vast wetlands were drained and replaced with a pine forest, transforming the local economy and making the area habitable. But here's the twist, this forest is not just any forest. It's a human-made one, planted to support an industrial activity. And that's where the real story begins. You see, in my opinion, this isn't just a fire in a natural forest. It's a fire in a forest that was planted there to support an industrial activity. Rafael Moreira, an environmental historian, explains that natural forests tend to contain a greater diversity of tree species and more interruptions that can slow a fire's advance. But in the Landes, there are no natural obstacles to the fire's expansion, leaving firefighters to do almost all the work of stopping it. And that's a problem, because while France's firefighters are among the best equipped in Europe, the fires themselves are changing faster than emergency services can adapt. Now, let's talk about the bigger picture. We're in the midst of a fourth heat wave of the season, and scientists say climate change is the primary driver behind the extraordinary fire conditions gripping Western Europe. But they also say the scale of the fires cannot be understood without looking at how humans transformed the landscape itself. In fact, the fires in France share some similarities with the 2016 Horse River fire in Alberta, Canada, where drained wetlands also played a role. And that's where the legacy of earlier land use decisions comes into play. Sophie Wilkinson, a wildfire and peatland researcher, explains that climate change is exposing the legacy of earlier land use decisions. In her words, the era of denialism and pushing climate change into the future as a future issue is really gone. And she's right. We can't ignore the fact that extreme heat, drought, and wildfire are symptoms of human-caused climate change. Protecting and restoring ecosystems such as peatlands must also be part of the response. But here's the thing, the fires in France and Spain are not just a natural disaster. They're a human-made one too. The pine forest, planted to support an industrial activity, is now burning, and it's not just the trees that are affected. The soil, once able to retain water, is now sandy and doesn't retain water, leaving the undergrowth completely dried out and dead, becoming fuel for the fire. And that's a problem, because it's not just the trees that are burning, but also the homes and communities that depend on them. So, what's the takeaway from all this? Well, in my opinion, it's time to stop talking about climate change and start talking about climate breakdown. The fires in France and Spain are of a scale that we never imagined, and they're a stark reminder of the impact of human activity on our planet. As Naomi Corsant and her family try to rebuild their lives, we must ask ourselves, what can we do to prevent this from happening again? And how can we ensure that the legacy of earlier land use decisions doesn't become a deadly fire in the future? Thanks for watching, and remember, stay safe, stay informed, and let's work together to protect our planet. Until next time, keep exploring and keep learning.